Hi guys, I had a wonderful conversation with Emanuel Peres about motion systems and motion strategy. In this conversation, we talked about what motion systems are and what motion strategy is.
To make a system, you need a strategy. So in everything in life, so you if you have procedure, if you have method, if you have an algorithm to do stuff.
We also talked about how businesses can go about implementing motion design systems.
Yeah, they need to understand if what are the key touch points for their brand strategy.
We also talked about how documentation is very important in the design process.
So write down what you did. So how much keyframes, or how long it takes. So you start to feel systematic.
And we also had a thing or two to say for designers who are interested in motion design systems.
You need to train your language to have the vocabulary to explain to someone what you did. You need to have clarity. How can
I'd just like to I'd just like you to introduce yourself. I mean, who is Emanuel Peres and what do you do? Where are you? I mean, any fun thing you'd like to let us know about yourself.
Oh, great, great. So thanks for having me, Kat. I'm Manuel Peres. I'm from Brazil, and I've been working as a motion designer for the past 5 years, I guess. Yeah, I'm trying to get into the motion systems field, and I my focus primarily is on brand systems and animating them for more case study stuff or brand stuff for logo animations and this kind of deliverable. But right now I'm trying to get more into the motion system stuff. I studying it and producing some sort uh, of things around it, like motion guidelines, and it's been a great experience uh, trying to get all this into a single project, and it's been just like a great personal journey into that. So that's a challenge, but but it really kept me up and trying to do my best on,
hmm
get this kind of project.
Yeah, that sounds good. I feel we're actually in the same space because I'm also trying to get into it with learnings and also putting out work. So they're both happening at the same time. And yeah, it's nice meeting you, Emmanuel. And so straight up to why we're on the call, because the motion systems is a platform about motion design systems. So this call is to just help with knowledge and information about all that. So um, what would you say motion systems is, and what would be the difference or similarities between motion systems, then also motion strategy?
Yeah, I think both 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 things are kind of they walk together, so they are stick. So when you to make a system, you need a strategy. So in everything in life, so you if you have procedure, if you have method, if you have an algorithm to do stuff, you need to think about it. So to and when you build a system, you even if you don't know, you're based on strategy. So when it comes for brands that they have lots of motion needs, for the social media content, for the paid ads, campaigns, and also out of home campaigns, offline campaigns, this kind of stuff as well, because offline campaigns are now digital as well. So there, uh, there, there, there's this new, new touch point with the audience, So brands need to really get a good strategy, a marketing strategy, a brand strategy about what are they may touch points and what they need to their audience feel and think about them. So yeah, I think a motion system it's when you have this strategy and strategy well thinked, well planned. A motion system is when you have some guidelines, you have some templates, you have some assets that will guide the animation and will allow them to execute the strategy. So going practical is it's like a brand that may, for them it's really important to make events for the marketing. So uh, even setting even for this kind of events that are the companies buy the quotes of many seats for the employees and for the teams and stuff. uh, the experience of the event goes so deep when you have motion and you have this kind of feel. So a strategy is to properly what are the principles of motion that will guide that will allow us to cause the right emotional and consciousness impact on the audience. So it's not about just pretty stuff. It's the right pretty stuff. That's the motion strategy. And the system will allow us to make it in scale. So the strategy is when you think, and the system is where when you don't need to think anymore. You just need to do it. So you do you need a system when you don't need to think anymore. Or when it's too expensive. It is too time consuming to think and to invent the wheel every time you need motion for the event. You have a lot of motion application for that. So
Actually, it's actually interesting how you put it. I don't think I would have thought of it that way. I've thought of it that way. When you said strategy is what you think, then the system is now you implementing what you thought about. I feel that's like a very, very catchy point for what you said so far. Well, for what you've been talking about, it's with brands, right? And so, in your experience, how would you say the acceptance of? So we know motion design is everywhere, right? A lot of people have been using motion design for a long while, and it's mainstream now. But how you say the acceptance is based on what you're seeing for motion systems with brands, probably brands you've worked with, or what you've seen so far? How do you think clients are accepting motion systems?
so I think that's most tech companies already have some sort of guides on it, tech or entertainment. So if you Google a little bit, you'll find some guidelines for motion, or you like Slack, Vivo, and yeah, there's tons of stuff. So I think that because they have more need in terms of motion, they don't need only one piece. They don't need just explainer video, as you said. It's everywhere. So and that will not decrease. Our our contact with screens, unfortunately, will not decrease in the next years. So it, it, and and we need motion to interact with stuff. So that's part of how things works. In it's there's something about user experience. There's some kind of match of this area. So that's why I think the need for motion is increasing more because it's everywhere. We need to think how it will work in several applications and in the infinite touch points that a brand can have. So yeah, that's the value of the strategy and a system, because you can apply effectively the same strategy every time in every touch point without think. That's when the system comes. And yeah, I think it's, and for smaller brands and smaller companies, uh, they may not have that need because they don't have this same amount of touch points. But I think for the smaller companies than Slack and Bevel, that's that, and I think there's more brands that are smaller than bigger than the companies that are bigger than Slack. Nope. They yeah they need to understand if what are the key touch points in the for their brand strategy. So brand strategy is not something it's not a project, it's a campaign, it's a managing view of a business, so you don't just do a rebrand and then you'll forget the systems about and the principles and the values of the brands. So you really need to because you need to have everything aligned. Sales, you have to marketing, HR, leadership, production. Everything needs to be aligned to the brand. So yeah, it's that kind of view. So I think that's difficult when a company don't have this conscious about the brand and don't don't put effort to to managing their brand, because their brand it's not their logo, it's not their visual system. Their brand, it's what people feel about them. Like ultimately, it's all about them. So the strategies, the visuals, the logo, the motion, all it comes to get to make people have the feel you want they have about you. It's all about that. So how people feel about you. So you have so that's I think it's the goal of a brand system and a motion system. They are tools to help companies to make people have the right feel about them, the feel you want they have. So it's how I see it.
That sounds good. Yeah, and I hear you loud and clear. So the bigger brands, because of their need for, I mean, they have much more things to do. They like most, like you mentioned, Slack, right? We have Google, we have a lot of these bigger brands who already have systems, right? But now, because of the way motion is needed, I mean, even if a brand just wants to focus on social media, if they really want to do it well, they have to use a lot of motion design. So the question would be, how would you advise a smaller brand, not as big as Slack or Google, a smaller brand that wants to incorporate motion design systems, right? How you advise them to start or go about it?
Yeah, I think they need to think one step back about their brand. So if they don't have this um, view of managing their brand, their brand, the unconscious feel that people have about them, and they don't care about it. So I think they shouldn't care about systems as well, unless they just need a couple of videos every time. But they have Envato for that. They have templates for generic templates for them. So I think we can, when people, when smaller companies want to get this brand managing uh, view for for their business, because it's about business. So you need system when you need to do things in scale. You need to have a factory of motion. It's basically that. So they need to for social media, for example, we can make something a factory for them, and templates that are really useful. They can make several different um, videos that will have the same feel, but they are not exactly the same. They will have unity and diversity in their content. So that we can do in motion system. But they really need to understand their social strategy, because many times the best motion you can do is a video footage. So just say like a car company. Yeah, people want to see cars on this company social feed. So they need sexy videos about cars. They need this kind of field. So it depends. I think for tech companies that leads with a bit abstract stuff, motion can help them to let their audience understand easily, and it can help their easily produce their content about them. So when it comes about uh, awareness, brand awareness, just to people know their content, they're not trying to sell anything on their social media. They are just trying to let people know about them, yeah, and stuff. It can help as well, but the system will need to be different. So we need really to. So I think the advice for them is we need to really think and have a deep thought about uh, what are they need on social media. They can't just, we need to be there because everybody is there, but how much effort you're gonna, because it could be a powerful tool for the business. It really could be. So but if you don't know why are you doing social media, you're wasting time. It's so I think that's the thing. We need to have this kind of strategic view. We need to understand about business, and they need to understand about their brand and how their brand can help their business.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Yeah, I hear you loud and clear because so from what you're saying now, it's not about the fanciness of what motion can be because you see a lot of beautiful videos online and a lot of people might want that. But the root of it is to actually understand your business and understand how you want to project. That's what we talk about, the strategy, the thinking before the whole design and all. And that actually now brings a question to mind. So what you advise now, motion designers who want to do motion systems, right? How would you have, because let's say a motion designer has been designing for 5 years or more, right? He has been doing experimental videos. He hasn't had that systems thinking yet. So what would you advise him to start from or her?
Yeah, I think they you won't find a web course that will guide you on on this. It would be great. I think that I think that in the next years, maybe we will have it. But for now, what I do is basically, I'll tell what I do because I'm also trying. I'm the same place they are. So my advice, I only can advise uh, what's working for me until now. But yeah, we is basically trying to decompose motion guidelines that you saw online. So you need to study other motion guidelines that already exist, and trying to you write them. So you get into Slack or uh, Vivo or so search around the stuff and understand what are you can also make courses about brand systems and design systems because you can extract the principles about writing guidelines. So how to write guidelines for design. It will help us to understand. You really need to understand deeply about animation as well. So most motion designers don't really get into animation curves on After Effects or whatever software they use. They use a generic animation curve. In After Effects, I really think that every motion designer should try at least try to learn to animate good stuff using the speed graph on After Effects because you can really understand you can really understand what the spacing animation principle is all about. Because you need to to train your view to understand what is a good animation, and then that animation, you can study about design systems and guidelines to get these principles and how this framework works, and then apply to animation. So what's the curve? What's the timing? What's about the frame rate? And you and when you do a good animation, you can write down. I do it sometimes, so I get the perfect, the golden speed graph, the golden curve. It's the perfect keyframe of this animation. So write down what you did. So how much keyframes, or how long it takes. So you start to think systematically. So you can see, okay, this timing and this spacing get me this feel about it. So that's this amplitude of the motion and stuff. So then you can write down, and you need to train your language to, I think, to have the vocabulary to explain to someone what you did. So because the guidelines, it's all about that. Is how you it's a recite. Yeah, it's a recite. So you need to have clarity. How can I explain to someone how make things exactly as I did in this piece, in this motion piece? Because I think that. So trying to make it for your own animations and try to study systems and how people write, what's the writing style of them, how they for me it's really useful. I do it a lot. So I get every time I see a motion guideline online, i I write the structure. I don't copy everything, but I write the structure. So they start with the text, transitions. Some of them don't have transitions. Some of them have formats. Some of them have other other chapters. And some of them you can't really see the motion guidelines, but in the case study you can pause the video and and, and see the spaces, and so you can write down and understand and study. So it's what I'm doing, and man, to get this kind of project, you need to talk with marketing leaders and design heads and stuff. I so yeah, I think it's all about. So you it's not for, so that's the people I'm trying to reach, and I have some prospects running, but I still need to improve, and I'm still learning. But have this contact. It's a sales process, and this sales process, it's really interesting, and I'm loving it to learn and have contact and talking with the marketing heads on companies. That's great. So yeah, you need to think about your brand as well as a
I mean,
motion designer. So
it's
there's a
a whole
lot of stuff.
yeah, it's a whole lot. I mean, just the few things you said, we can actually unpack and really discuss deep dive a lot of things that we will not able to talk about in this video, definitely. But it's a whole lot. I hear you talk about you need to be able to communicate well. I mean, you can't do something and not be able to communicate. You need to be able to communicate well. You need to be able to document. I mean, that's something I picked from what you said. Every designer is able to document, communicate well, and also paying attention to details like studying bits. And I mean, it's similar to the way you learn motion design, but now you have to be much more structured about it. You have to be much more
Yeah,
structured about it. Yeah, true. That's actually valuable insight. I mean, you already started answering my next question the way you already started answering, but the question is how do you approach motion design systems? I mean, if you just give us a brief overview from maybe the brief, so handing off to the client, or how's the process like for you?
yeah. The process. Yeah, it starts to let them know what you are talking about, because motion system is a, it's not a good word. That don't explain too much for anyone. That's not a motion designer that is studying motion systems, because they don't what what the system, what the motion inside it. That's just it just look like a face name that people invent. That's a sounds like a new word. So especially in Brazil, it don't tell anything to anyone. So you need to explain. You need to unpack. Well, what is this? What are you talking about? So it's just like we are doing right now. We are trying to explain our point of view. So all right, I think that's the first step. Explain what it is. What are you talking about? And then I try to people understand and see value in that. So you need to explain why, and then how and what. I think that's a good framework, and what I'm trying. And and then you you need to in the briefing you need to understand these strategic points. So what they do, what the company do, they or they sell what for who are their consumers, who are they are trying to reach, um, and then where they are trying to reach. It's on social media, it's or they have another a different commercial process. So people, some big companies, really big companies, don't invest on social media or in ads because the commercial process is different. So that's not a good company. You, I trying to to sell something that they don't need. So in the briefing, you just need to understand what are they need those points, and then you set the deliverables that will be valuable for them. So I think that it's more about listening and make questions that will help you to understand they need to propose. Then they will not. I that won't help it happen to me yet. So, but I think that would happen. No client will come to me and say, "Well, I need a motion system that have social media templates for our products, and we'll also need a broadcast package, and we also will need events package with 3 vignettes, 3 presentations of the sponsors, or uh, they they won't get into the deliverables in this phase. So you need to propose, you need to identify what are the valuable deliverables for them in terms of motion and the motion systems. So companies that already invest in motion design, they already have explainer videos, they are already do this kind of stuff. Maybe it will be easier to sell them because they already know the value, and the core value that we will bring is patterns and documentation. So they can, and most companies value documentation because it allows us to, you don't need this guy forever and ever to do this stuff in a good pattern. The documentation allows company to replace people because life happens. Life happens. This guy will receive, the market leader will receive a better proposal, or they will have their partner will move for work, and they can stay in the same company. Yeah, like it can happen. So we need to document process to allow maintaining the standards of quality and stuff. So yeah, that's my point of view,
Yeah.
and how I try to do stuff.
Okay, that really makes sense. And if there's anything I'm taking out from our conversation is how you in approaching motion design systems, there's a lot of non-design technicalities, non-design related technicalities that are needed, like proper documentation, proper knowing how to propose. I mean, if you can't, like you mentioned, if you can't propose a system and explain very well, you won't have the chance to even create any design. So those skills are very, very valuable. So there's a from what I'm getting from you now, there's a large need to actually ground yourself in non-design skills in order to be able to sell the design system or the motion system. That's really valuable. I mean, how do you say financially motion design systems would be for a designer now? Like, how do you say financially rewarding? Maybe from your experience or where you see it to be, is it something that will be financially rewarding, or is it just better for a designer to stick to non-systems thinking and just create one-off explainer videos? I mean, that's it.
I think it is, but honestly, what I experiencing myself, it's harder because I say that I said before, because we already have an industry of motion design, uh, so you became you know a motion designer, a freelance motion designer. You will have a producer singing for you, a director. So it's easier because people are need that technicality, and it's easier to get this stuff in YouTube. You can learn motion design for free if you want, and if you really put your soul on it, you can become a really good animator. And I know some really good animators that put a lot of effort on that and get a really good path financially. So yeah, it's easier because the way I see it, uh, um, you if you want to, I see two paths. If you're gonna sell motion systems, you need to learn about business and you need to know about marketing strategy and you need to know about branding, and that's a lot. It's the non-design skills you talk about. I think you need to see yourself more like a business owner than a freelance designer. And in the other half, some big design studios that write motion design systems are looking just for good animators to do the thing and help them to write. So you can get into that path as well, but you be a freelance. You won't sell. You won't sell the project for the client. Your client is the studio, is the agency and stuff. And that path, I think it's easier for a designer because you go really technical. So you're gonna study Calvary, you're gonna study Rive, you're gonna really dive into After Effects, and you're gonna be damn good. You're gonna you need to make really good stuff, and you're gonna post online, and people will reach you to get into this kind of project. I think that's easier because you go just what you want. But for me, I'm good. I'm okay in become this other kind of professional and studying about business and stuff to, you know, get my own thing. But that's the two paths I see, and I myself think about this and try. So man, I think it would be easier if I learn 3D and you know, get into Blender and become and understand everything about motion design and understand other language and stuff. And well, I'll be a more profitable freelancer, and it'd be easier. But I'm really interested in going to this business adventure and become more like a salesperson and a producer because I'm learning a lot of stuff that I I think that's more valuable. So, and because I exercise both my business view and my creativity view, both sides. So that's good. That's a place I enjoy in the past. But you need really to understand what you want to do, what
Yeah,
what
sure.
type,
I get that.
what kind of professional you want to become.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I mean, it's going to be a longer path because of all the skills you need to put in, but it definitely is going to be rewarding in the end. But you just have to be a little bit much more tenacious with what you're pushing. Okay, so how would you say? I mean, we're coming to the end of this already. How would you say the impact of motion design systems would be in the coming years within the motion design space and also for businesses? How do you think it will impact generally?
Yeah, man, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Honest answer.
So I, I've talked a lot about how I view our markets and our field. I think for most things I say until now, it's things how I see it, but I will not say ultimately that's a rule and you need to follow that because man, I just starting as well, so and uh, so I don't feel confident because AI, you know, everyone is trying to figure out what will be the impact of AI in the next in the next years and stuff. What I think about systems is becoming more popular, and what what I think will change is when you when a freelance motion designer will be hired for a studio or a brand, they will need to study the guidelines. They will receive the guidelines as part of the briefing. So I think that I see it in a positive view because it will align fast projects and projects that will motion designers that really can understand the guidelines of the brand in terms of motion. They won't need to think too much about, so they will have less days spending on the project. And um, I think that it may be good, but it maybe it could be bad because some companies will have lots of templates and they don't really need a motion designer. But I don't know if these companies are the companies that will hire a motion designer. No, why? Because that's out of the scope. So I really don't know. Honestly, I'll be a liar if I.
That's fair enough. So I mean, finally, you mentioned AI, so I just have to ask this question. Um, how will you say AI is going to affect motion strategy now? So how do you think motion AI would affect or enhance? That's the thinking aspect of it all.
And the thinking aspect, I think won't affect nothing. You know, ChatGPT is out there for 2 years, 3 years, don't know. And we have Gemini, we have Bing, we have all this stuff, and good writers still writing because man, you can't really use commercially the kind of text that these AIs are bringing out. So because it's too generic. It's too generic for text, and text is about strategy. So I think strategy won't be replaced, but Sora, it's scary. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
that in the technical part,
really
in the
is.
technical part,
Yeah,
what will affect. I don't fear for strategy, but I fear for the producing because man, yeah, the technical part. So that's why I that's some of the reasons that I prefer to become a business person than a technical person right now.
that's really smart.
But yeah, but that's my faith step. I don't really know what the future will bring because I also think that the technical masters, you know, these After Effects nerds that knows about Cinema 4D, Blender, and all the other software. They really know how video media works. These guys that are experts, they, they, they won't be replaced because they really understand what thing is up. And my experience with AI video, you, if I was a VFX artist and if I had a composing skills, I think I could do better stuff with AI input. But just like a good designer on Photoshop, if they know how to make stuff and correct well, the crazy stuff that AI brings, you can have a really nice flow. But honestly, nobody knows, and I think the people who say that who knows what will happen are liars, and they are not well intentioned, or they are just the. I think that the true ways. I think the honest people and people that uh, they have the feeling, but they know that they doesn't know. that's why everybody's scared, because we are just scared because we don't know what could happen. And that I talk about people that really know and stuff. It's just a few, and they're like charlatans. You can smell them.
I mean, yeah, we're actually just learning as we go. We'll see how it works and see how it goes, and just try and implement it in our workflow and all that. I mean, thank you so much. I mean, as touching motion systems, motion strategy, what final words would you want to chip in before we go?
Uh, stay stay learning, folks. We need to study in both paths.
Doing
So
it.
thanks for having me,
Yeah,
Cassie.
so much for being here, Emmanuel. I really do appreciate. Thanks for the support for the motion systems so far, and looking forward to having this some other time. Thank you so much.